Hello guys, welcome to Making an Online Casino Part 2. And today we have some changes that we've made, and I'll be going through them on a high level, and then after that we'll dig down into the details of the code. Alright, so on the front end you'll notice that we do have this box where we display how many coins we have and how many coins we want to bet in this input box, and then we want to place the bets. So red and black do multiply your coins by 2, and then green is going to multiply by 14 because that's rare to land on. Okay, so on a high level view, this box, when we press a button, it'll trigger an event to send to the WebSocket server. And let me pull up that code. All right, so when we first connect, it's gonna call init wheel, which makes the wheel, and then we initialize the socket, which is going to connect to our WebSocket server and run this block of code. So what will happen is that we're going to be adding an event listener. So when the backend sends a message, we're going to be able to parse it, and then we handle the logic based off of what the event is. So here we have initialize, win, broadcast roll, and subtract coins. All right, so we'll start with init. So when we first connect to the backend, we create a user ID for the WebSocket that just connected, and then we store it in the WebSockets object. And then in the connections map, we'll use the WebSocket as the key, and then we'll use an object with information as the value. And we do this because we want to easily access information about the WebSocket, and we can do that like this. And then after we set that client up, we'll send an event back to it saying that it's good and we're keeping track of it. And we'll send the client ID and coins back as part of the payload. All right, so that's that event. And then it will update the amount of coins we have displayed right here. And we'll always start with 100. All right, for the next event that the backend server can send is the win. And of course, if it lands on the color that we want, then the backend server will send a win event, and then it'll display the total amount of coins we have. And the next event is the broadcast roll event. So that's every time the server rolls a number, it's going to broadcast it. So the front end knows which number to land on. And everyone who's connected to the WebSocket server will get this. Every time the server rolls a number. And then lastly, we have the subtract coins event. So that's when you place a bet, the server is going to validate that you're actually able to do it, and then it'll send a confirmation back as a subtract coins event, and then that'll update the coins counter. All right, and then let's see, we've added this logic, and basically when this is the event for when you click on to place a bet. So it'll take the amount from the input box, and then it'll turn it into a number, and then parse it and make sure that it's a number. And if it's not a number, it'll just return. So clicking the button doesn't do anything. All right, and then if it passes that check on the front end, then it'll send the payload to the socket, and this applies to all 3 buttons. All right, so nothing has changed in these functions, and this is the code for this table that we have with the bets. And as you can see, it's important to label all the components with an ID so that jQuery can interact with them. Okay, and here are the CSS styles I'll show you real fast, and you can just get it from GitHub when I post it, but I'll also just scroll through this really fast. Okay, and now we'll go to the backend and also run it so we can follow along. All right, so we're starting the server, and then we're gonna refresh the page to have the clients connect to the WebSocket server. So as you can see, we have 3 tabs and 3 incoming connections. All right, so the server rolled black, and as you can see, we had the broadcast roll and the number, and then it lands on 13. Okay, so we'll show the backend changes right now. All right, so it's a new round, and we'll place a bet of 11 on red. As you can see, our backend receives the message, and then it tallies it up, and then it confirms it. So it subtracts coins right here. We have 89. It lands on red, so we win, and then we get 11. Okay, so when the client first connects, it's going to generate an ID for that client and attach it to the WebSockets object, so we can keep track of WebSockets. And then we want to have a map where we set the key as the WebSocket, and then we have an object with the client ID and the coins. And we do this so that we can easily access the properties of the WebSocket. And then once we set that and we're good to go, then it sends a message back with the event initialize, and also with the information about the client. So it's going to give, so this event gets passed to the init, which says 100 coins, and that's when we first connect, it'll be at 100 coins. Okay, and then when you press place bet, that sends a message with a payload, and that payload is going to be accessed through the data object. So I'll place a bet, and then we can see that the data comes through. So we place bet, and here we go. It logs it to the console. We bet 11 on the color red, and that's the data object. So now we parse it, and then we can apply some backend validation. So this chunk is we're making sure that no bad bets can get placed. So if this current bettors set has holds all the current bets for the round, and we're only letting a user bet once for the round. You can change that if you want, but that's just the way I like it. And then also, if the WebSocket is not in the connections map, then it technically doesn't exist, so we want to just not let it get past there. And then also we want to make sure that we actually have more coins than we're betting. We can actually fix this to there. That's some logic fix. So we make sure we actually have enough money to bet. All right, so if we're at this point, then we're good to go. And we want to subtract the coins from the user because they're placing a bet. And this is on the server side, so it's more secure because the client can't like tamper with the logic behind here. All right, and then once we subtract the coins, we're gonna send an event that confirms it with the client so that they can update their side and subtract coins. So when I place the bet, it's gonna go here to the server, and then it's gonna go back to the client with the event, so it can update the UI. All right, and then it'll push it to the current bets array, so that we can loop through it later and give all the winnings away. All right, so as you can see, it landed on red, and then the client knows that we won, so we get 11 times 2 back. All right, so for this logic, we have the computed random number, and then we want to get the roll color. So here's that logic for that. All right, and then we loop through all the WebSockets, and we want to find the winners. So we make sure that we can talk to the WebSocket, and then we make sure that the current bets array is good, and that that the current betters has the WebSocket in it. That's just a little validation. All right, and then after that, we get the current bet, and then so that is gonna look like, we go through the current bets array, and we can find what that looks like for one right here. So that's going to be an array of objects with a client ID, bet amount, and a color. And we see if the color of the bet is equal to the winning color, and if it is, then it's a winning bet. So we calculate the amount that we have to give to them. So if it's green, then we have to give them 14 times what they bet. And if it's red or black, we give them 2 times. All right. So then we add it to their little coin purse, and then we send it to them that they won, and then we'll tell them how many coins they have in total, so that they can update the front end. All right. After that, everyone gets the all the clients get the roll broadcasted to them, whether they bet or not. All right, and at the end of the round, you want to clear the array and also the set, because you want to this information is only on a per round basis. All right, so going through that logic, we can see that we have a functional betting system, and a lot of the logic is on the back end, which is good, but there is still a lot of validation to be done on the back end. But that's for another video. All right, so we'll just place a bet on every color, and we can see that whichever color it lands on will work. All right, so red wins, so then we should be doubling our bet right here. Yep. And as you can see, these ones lost, so they lost their money. All right, so that wraps up part 2 of the online casino, and hope you guys enjoyed.